Okay, so today I didn't get everything that I wanted to get done yesterday. I went to the range and I got the video for shooting. Also, this way I can put that up on my profile so people know that I know how to operate a firearm. And then I had some older footage of me performing different martial arts, like empty hand, and then with the one with the broadsword, one with the staff. And I put a compilation together of that. And it's like 45 seconds, something like that. So this way, people know that I have some skills in that as well. I put those together in a hurry because it's what I had today. I will be reshooting those as time goes on. So this way, they're updated and they're fresh and it's like I'll think of something else that's a little bit that shows off some skill. So I didn't get the chance to record an actor's clip. Actor's clip, I basically just need to show that I can speak lines and I can speak dialogue. The problem, and I saw this post on Reddit, coincidentally, just last week. Someone had asked a question that, hey, for you guys' acting clips and whatnot, do you guys record yourself speaking both parts because you can't find anybody or something? And yeah, a lot of people had said, even people who have been in the industry for a little bit, I record myself doing both parts because number one, it's actually hard to find people in the time frame that you need. It's the middle of the day on a Tuesday right now, or 10 a.m. or something like that on a Tuesday. Most people are at work or they're at school or something like that. I am in a very fortunate position to where I'm a little bit more of a stay-at-home dad. And the work that I do, which I'll work on later, I edit videos. That's something that I've developed over the last few years. I edit videos for clients and I edit podcasts. So I can do that from home. I don't really need to talk to anybody. Most of my correspondence comes through text messages like, hey, I sent you a file, they upload it to my Google Drive, and then I edit it and then I'll upload it for them to whatever platform they want it. And then I'll re-upload it to Drive so this way they have the finished copy as well, so they can use it for whatever they want later on because it's their IP, it's their intellectual property. So I don't have to, and it's like I think I only do that a couple hours a week. I've developed processes to where it does not take me a long time to edit stuff. Plus, the way that software works now and a lot of the AI and such, a podcast is really easy. So if I have someone who they send me a video file of their podcast, one of the easiest things to do to start off with is cutting out all the quiet parts. So you set your silence detector on how you want it, so it's not chopping their words off. But you do something like that, and you find a nice happy medium, and it can sound like everything was together and just takes out all the silent parts is what it does. So that right there, it's like one client I have, half-hour podcast. I can knock that half hour, take out all the quiet parts. That'll shave off anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes initially. Okay, so that makes that knocks out a ton of work for me. Where a few years ago, before this was a thing with the software, I had to go in and listen to it for just hours and hours over and over again and cut out all those pieces. It was a pain in the neck. So now it gets done in 20 seconds, 30 seconds at most. So it's just click, 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 and I'm good. So I didn't get everything done that I needed to do yesterday. Get back on track. I have a tendency to ramble. So therefore, I have to now do my actor's clip today. So, well, why don't you already have an actor's clip? Because I procrastinate a lot, like most people. Sometimes procrastination works out for me. I could have done this acting clip, honestly, 2 weeks ago. I really could have. I got the dialogue, so I'll find an acting clip. And the scene that I'm going to do is the movie King Arthur from 2004. So it has, the scene is with Clive Owen and Stellan Skarsgård. Love Stellan Skarsgård. You guys will know him as typically plays as scientist. He's usually an intellectual guy. A lot of times it's because his accents. I don't know. It's like you have an Eastern accent, so like British or Eastern European or something like that, and all of a sudden it's like, oh well, you sound intelligent, like us Americans sound like idiots or something like that. And it's like you get that, you get the and then you'll see it in movies where it's like the Southern accent. People would think that, oh well, they're stupid, and it's like, no, it's not the case whatsoever. So, but that's what Hollywood has told us to believe, which is people from the South in America, like the Deep South, are unintelligent. But if you are British and you speak the Queen's English, somehow you're more intelligent, and that's just not always the case. There are intelligent people everywhere, and there are intelligently challenged people everywhere. So what I do, take the scene, and the scene is, you probably can't see that. That's all it is. So I will be using one of my old phones, because cameras are just awesome on all these old phones. Like the phone is this one's a Galaxy S20. It's now 4 years old, so it was starting to glitch a lot, just because software updates. The software will always outdate the hardware. So the hardware is just not accepting a lot of the software updates, and we're getting a lot of glitches and a lot of issues. So what I'm recording on now is my current phone, which is the S23. And because we switched phone carriers, we got a smoking deal on that. So yeah, this is only going to be about 4 seconds. So I'll record myself basically speaking. I'll pause for Surdic's parts, which I'm playing Surdic. I like the bad guy. I want to play the bad guys. I want to play bad guys, military personnel, I can play dads. I can play dads. I can play, first responders. I can do a whole bunch of stuff like that. So, and then I'll speak Arthur's parts, so this way I have something to go off of. Now, here's the thing with this. It doesn't have to line up. So I can go through and I can mouth Surdic's part and not actually speak it and just be quiet. And then I can say Arthur's parts, Clive Owen's parts, and then again do the same thing, mouth my part, Surdic's part, be quiet during that. So this way it creates that space. And then when I play it back, I'll time it and I'll give myself a little timing. So when I play it back, I can line it up. And then when I line it up, then I can just edit Arthur's part to line up with mine a little bit better, so it sounds like I'm actually having a conversation. Opposed to, as an example, so Surdic starts off speaking, and so I have his part, which is maybe about 7 to 9 seconds of part, and then I have Arthur's part. It's like, speak your terms, Saxon. Well, I need to pause. I need to count in my head 1/1000 to give myself, Surdic, the opportunity to say, the Romans have left you. Why are you fighting? What are you fighting for? And then I can go into Arthur's part, and then so on and so forth. And then, because I don't want to edit my part as Surdic, I want that to flow. Because if the casting director who's ever looking at it, or if it's a non-union, like, independent film, and it's just the director is acting as a casting director, if they see that, they may not like that. They're like, why is this? I can tell this is edited. What the hell is it so choppy for? It just looks bad. So you want it to flow, but also trying to find someone to speak lines. I mean, hell, I'm 47 years old. I don't have anybody to sit here and speak lines. My wife can speak lines, and she did offer. And I had told her, I said, I'll be honest, because she offers, like, oh, well, let me help you play the part. I can play Arthur. I'm like, you can. And I appreciate that. But for my mindset, I said, I'm Surdic. I am a conqueror. I am older. I am seasoned. I am 60 years old. I have been in battle since I was 15 years old. I don't know. I'm making up the backstory as I go along. I didn't look into it. I don't care. So I'm making up. It's like, I am a warrior. Nobody can beat me. I have battle scars. I am battle tested. When I run through a city or a village, I run over that and I scorch the fucking earth. So for me, having my wife read that, I told her, I said, honestly, that's difficult because you're my wife. I love you. I look at you. It's like, I'll find a role where I can talk to you about something, but I hate, and I don't so much I hate Arthur. It's Arthur is my next hill to climb. Arthur is the next conqueror. As it says in the first line here, wherever I go in this wretched island, I hear your name. And I'm not in character right now. It's always half weird. Is this some type of god? I don't see a god. I see flesh and I see bone. You're no more of a god than the creature you're sitting on. As Arthur, you disgust me. You disgust me because you challenge me. Don't you know who the fuck I am? And I'm going to destroy you. I am going to leave this island and you and your army dead, dismembered, dismantled, and just everything is going to be ruined. I am hell on earth and I am coming for you. I can't look at my wife and play that character. I can't. She can read it. Number one, it's not just because she's my wife and it's like, oh, but I love you and you're sweet and you're pretty and blah, 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 blah. It's not just that. If my oldest son is 23 and he's an actor, he's in Austin, Texas right now, and if he were here, I could speak those lines to him. I could look at him, even though he's my firstborn, he's my son. I am very proud of him. I love him. I can take him as a person out of it, and I was like, no, you are now Arthur. I can't look at honestly a woman. And I know, but it's 2024. It's like women can play. Let's not get into that bullshit, okay? The reality is I cannot look at my wife as a warrior on a battlefield in 15th century and want to kill her. And that's my whole point. Okay, this is me as a warrior, as a seasoned veteran. And I go from country to country and I conquer, and I need someone in front of me that I can look at and want to conquer them. So my brother-in-law would be pretty good because he did some acting in high school, and he's a larger guy. I think he's like 6'3", 6'4", like 240, something like that. And he has a nice voice with some resonance, so it would be good. It would be nice. But he is an actuary. So he has a job where he works a lot of hours and he doesn't necessarily have availability. Again, it is 10:30 on a Tuesday morning. So anyways, it can be difficult to find people, so you have to come up with that. So if you have something like an old phone, now you may not have a lot of the gear. I acquired this gear because of my other businesses that I had, because I needed to produce content for them. I needed to learn how to take pictures. I needed to learn how to make social media content. And you can say now, today in 2024, well, you don't need all that gear, and that is true. But the thing of it is when I started this process of learning how to take photo and learning how to take video was back in 2017. So it was COVID that honestly changed the landscape of, say, social media. And the reason being is because during COVID, people were stuck at home, depending on where you were at, anywhere from, say, like 6 months to 8 months to even a year, and they started to produce content. If you go back and you look at some of the creators, if you go back, scrub through, say their Instagram or even their TikToks, I mean, that's hard to do because people make 40 videos a fucking day. But their YouTube or something like that, you will notice there is almost a higher quality of production value overall before 2020, where after 2020, people can literally just sit there, and I got it on the thing, but you can literally just sit there on their phone and be like, hey, how's it going? There's my fucking wall, and there's my dirty laundry, and who gives a shit? And make content that way. And everybody got into the ring lights for a little bit, but now people are just like, I have some window light open. I got my lens set, so I'm not worried about it. But I got some window light open, and this is good enough lighting. I don't have any lights on, right? I mean, I got a light on here, but see how much more brighter? And I got this thing set to 5%. So I don't even need that. You can see the difference already. I don't even need that light on because it's not necessary. So the production quality has, to a point, decreased because people are being a little bit more realistic with their videos, and it's honestly, for social media, it's quite refreshing. To where, it's 5-6 years ago, it's like you did buy gear, you did buy a lot of this gear, so this way you can make your videos look better, because no one would watch them if they didn't look good. If the thumbnails and the graphics and just everything had to be different, and it had to be curated. You can make one 5-minute tutorial for your YouTube video, and it could take you 2-3 days just to make that stupid thing. And now it's like, nope, camera's already set up there. I'm gonna stand here. I'm just gonna talk, and I'm still in my pajamas, and nobody fucking cares. So it's kind of awesome that way. Let's get set up. So turn the lights on. So again, you don't need all this fancy gear. I acquired most of it for business reasons. I was also making tutorials because it was a martial arts studio. So I was making tutorials, and I had a YouTube channel for my students. So this way they learn certain techniques. They can learn, it's simple stuff like, it's like, all right, well, here's your 3 basic punches. Here's a jab, a cross, a hook, and uppercut. I said 3 punches. I know you're probably counting 4, because a jab and a cross are the same punch. You can argue all you want, but they're straight punches. That's a punch. It's just done with lead hand and power hand. So there's some variation to it, but it's still a straight punch. So therefore, there's still only 3 punches in boxing. Hook punch, body hook, or what we call a Mexican hook. It's still a hook punch, just a slight variation. Anyways, getting off subject as I always do. I needed the lighting, I needed the cameras, I needed all this other type of stuff. So I did what I could on a budget. The nice thing was back then, again, before we'll just say COVID roughly, and I can't put an exact, thumb on the timeline, but before COVID, Amazon, the Black Friday, when they did the Cyber Monday thing back then, man, you got smoking deals. So these lighting stands, these are steel lighting stands. They're not the name brand ones, so by not going with the name brand, I think they're newer or something like that. I saved several $100s just by not getting name brands. But the reality is these are excellent construction. They really are. You can get some cheap ones like what I'm using to prop up the backdrop there. Those are cheap. They're not cheap anymore. Now they're $50 for a set of 3, when in reality, in my opinion, they should be like $20. If even that. They're really crappy if you're not good. If you're not careful with it, you'll snap the little clips on the sides that extend the bar. Where with these, these are all steel construction. I got a couple C stands as well that I got for smoking deals as well. So the lights, these are not fancy lights. It is literally a light holder with a cord. They are not battery operated, so it requires extension cords. But it is just a 5,000, 5,500 Kelvin daylight, lamp looking thing. It's just a big curly ones is all it is. And I got that set. So I got a whole set with that. It came with the lights, came with the mounts, came with 3. Came with light stands, came with I believe 2 white umbrellas and a black umbrella. I think I got that thing for like $40, where now they're up to like $60 or $80 or something. I don't know. I haven't checked the price in a while. So anyways, I can get a lot of stuff for cheap. You really don't need that. I would say if you are going to record your own stuff, you do need a good tripod. This is a halfway decent tripod. I see all these tripods. Everybody wants the Manfrottos. Fuck that. They're $800, man. I'm not buying no $800,000 tripod. It's like, yeah, but it's no. This thing was $50. I take care of it. You can, now the hook down at the bottom here where you can sandbag it, I wouldn't rely on that to sandbag it. Get a smaller sandbag. I got sandbags on here. Get a smaller one or fill it halfway and then just put it across there to lock it. And then also walk around and don't trip over the damn thing. The next thing, in my opinion, that you need is something like this. Just call it cell phone holder. It's adjustable there, so it'll clamp down and it'll go nice and wide. And then adjustable there, so you can go either basically YouTube or TikTok. So that type of thing. You can get a cage like this, I like the cages only because it will mount to your tripod there, but then it has the little screws on those side, and then it also has the mount. So you can put a light on one side, you can mount a microphone on the other side. If you have like a shotgun mic, you can mount that there, and then it twists, it's adjustable, so you can put your cell phone there. And then again, like I said, you have the mount, so you can go either vertical or you can go here. I'm doing vertical right now to record my Arthur part. So this way it looks, when I set it back up in between the light and the camera over there, I'll be able to look at myself. So I actually am talking to someone off camera, because when you're doing your actor's clip, you don't want to stand here and you don't want to stare directly into the lens, because it's fucking creepy, and casting directors will be like, dude, this guy's fucking weird, man. We don't want him on our set. Let's just swipe right or swipe left or whatever the hell they do. Anyways, so we have the lights set up. It's just a simple 2 lights. I'm not getting too crazy with it. I just want to make sure I don't have a bunch of shadows all over me. And I did maybe see the blue tape right there. See the blue tape down at the bottom. So what you do is I just took some painter's tape. You can use gaffer's tape. I don't recommend gaffer's tape on your carpet if you're going to do that, if you have it on a hard floor. And the reason being is while gaffer's tape, when you pull it up, it doesn't leave the residue, which is really nice. Like, I got a piece over there from an old thing when I was making YouTube videos about something else later, and I can't get the damn thing up. It is stuck to the carpet. I'm going to have to like snip, which is old shitty carpet anyways. I'm going to have to snip it a little bit and try to rip it up. I just haven't done it yet. But gaffer's tape does stick. It is, I love this shit. So I just use some painter's tape because it's designed to to have good adhesion, but also to not, tear stuff off. So you just put your little T mark, so this way you have your marker, just like you would, when you're blocking or something like that for theater or film. So I have my camera set up. I asked my wife, and you can use a cell phone. Nice thing is like here, so using like mine, it has face tracker on it, so I'm always in focus, which is great. I don't want the multi-pixel because this is an older DSLR. I don't want the multi-pixel tracker because you will get that zoom. It's not digital like your camera is. I mean, it is because it's a DSLR, but that's not what I meant. What I mean is sometimes it can have a tendency to hunt. So if I'm in scene and I just move a little bit like this or like this, opposed to standing completely rigid and delivering lines, then it may not track and you may be out of focus. Now, is that going to be a deal breaker? From my understanding, what I've heard listening to agents and casting directors on some of the different groups that I subscribe to a point, they don't care. I mean, they do. They don't, don't make it completely dark. Do something with the lighting, and you can do. So here's something you can do. Let's do it with this phone. So you can you got your phone. Mine's got a 3 camera. So let's go ahead, let's turn on the flashlight. So that flashlight is coming next to, I'm trying not to blind you guys, sorry. So it's sitting, right there is your flashlight, and then you got your camera. If you have multiple, that'd be great. Sometimes you have old phones. I mean, hell, I still got Galaxy S2s from literally a decade ago. Like, I take care of my phones. I don't have any phones. My phone's never like, oh, I broke it and I snapped it and I cracked the screen and shit. What was this one? Ugh. My kids did this. So this is a cracked screen there, but that's because they started abusing. This is just an old crappy A21. Oh, and they busted the camera too. I didn't notice that. So I had this as a cheap phone, and it just didn't last very well. It didn't have very good power to it. It's just weak. So we found a deal for the S20s, and then my kids get these play phones because I don't allow my kids to have phones. And they go, oh, but what about safety? Look, I'm also a self-defense expert. I know I'm trying to be an actor, but I know a lot about fighting, about martial arts, about self-defense. And I'll tell you right now, You could stand 50 feet away from me, and I can be like, hey, guess what? I am your attacker. You are now my victim. I'm going to walk to you at a normal pace, and I'm going to do whatever bad things to you, and victimize you and take all your money or whatever it is and punch you in the nose. And there's not a fucking thing you can do about it. And what I mean that is, unless you're gonna fight me, that's a different story. But if you don't know how to fight and you're like the character in the movie, like, oh, please don't hurt me, as well, you're just going to get beat up. You are not going to call anybody that's going to get to you quick enough to do a damn thing to save you. Okay? 50 feet away. That's pretty far. Mark off 50 feet. I wear size 12s, and mark off 50 feet. You know, it's from here to probably the end of my... through that bedroom, that hallway, and into that bedroom. I could walk to you at a normal pace. You know, I could stop and stick a gum in my mouth or something like that. I'm gonna walk up to you, I'll kick you in the leg, smash your knee, punch you in the nose, take your purse and or wallet, and I'll take your cell phone. You are not gonna call 911 fast enough. Get someone on the line, give them, tell them who you are, where you are, what is happening, and a description of me. And on top of that, the response time, let's say you live in a city that has the fastest response time in all of North America, okay? All of North America. No one's getting there to save you quick enough. Now, that's not to say they can't catch me later. Yeah, I can still get in trouble because, you know, cameras, you know. But there's a good possibility, there's a high possibility no one is going to step in to help you, because the reality is most people will record it, but they won't get involved. No one can get there fast enough, and again, there's a good possibility that you're not going to be able to give the operator enough information to help you out. So, anyways, that's why it's the cell phone for safety it doesn't make any sense, you know. And the reality is one of the things that criminals have learned, and I know we're getting off subject, it's not even acting. One of the things criminals have learned, and they're learning it honestly through human traffickers, which is when you lure people, one of the first things that you do is you remove all of their digital devices. So if they have an Apple Watch, you're going to take that off of them and you're going to throw that away. They have a cell phone, you're going to snap that in half and you're going to throw that in there. Or they're not even going to do that, they're just going to throw it in the trash. Or they're just going to leave it on. They don't care. If I throw you in the trunk of your car and drive away, who cares that your cell phone was left in the parking lot of, you know, a Walmart or something like that? There's no way to track you. That's why people can go missing so easy. So unless you like, oh, I stuck an Apple tag in my, you know, my pocket, or I have one around my necklace or something like that. But even still, it's like they're gonna take anything and everything off you. One, because if you're wearing jewelry, it's like, well, I can pawn that and get a little bit of money from it. Or if I'm a really bad guy, like a psychopath, I'm gonna keep it as a trophy. But any digital devices, I'm gonna throw those away. I was like, hey, here's your phone, throw that away. Oh, hey, you got an Apple Watch. Well, let me take that off and throw that away. Let me punch you in the face a few times, soften you up. And then you're going to get in the trunk of my car. And don't worry, because that whole latch thing in there, I snipped that wire, so you're screwed. And yeah, now you're whatever. So anyways, on a happier note, let's get set up here. Took this off. Got this charged. So, going back to what I was saying as far as the cell phone, get off on tangents here. You have your light there, and so what you can do is, and you have to set it up. You'll need someone to set it up because you're going to use the back camera here. Unless you have, like, I actually have a couple mirrors in here. I could possibly use that. I've tried in the past; it doesn't work very well. So if you have someone set it up, you can set up your camera there, and you can use that. You can actually put some. Again, you're gonna need multiple cameras, multiple phones for something like this, unless you guys think of something different. But you can put some parchment paper over it. That's all you need to do. You can just literally tape a piece of parchment paper over there, and then obviously, you can take the slider on your light. I don't know if Apples do that because Apples are trash. No, I'm just joking with you, but I'm not. But you take the slider on your light and you can move that over so you can make the light, obviously stronger. I have it all the way high power. You can make it, like say like 5% or something like that. and then put some parchment paper over there, and now you have a diffuser. So there's ways to do it. I know you see these guys when you're watching videography, like the guys, like they're pro videographers and stuff, and like, oh, we'll buy a shower curtain and then it does X, Y, and Z. It's like, from my understanding, when I was going through acting in college, because I did acting classes just a couple years, I just go to the community college. You don't necessarily need to go to a major university. My son went through a major university, and it's interesting. So the shows that they put on were fantastic. Oh my gosh, they were fantastic. They do they have an arena style theater. So it's center and it's down, and then everyone is around them in the audience. So you get a full kind of 360. When I would go and visit him in college when he was doing his plays, I would choose a seat. I would go Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. So I do the matinee, and then I would get on a flight on Sunday night. So I would go see 3 of his shows, and when I did so, I would choose a different area each time so I get a different vantage point. It's like watching a whole new play. It's fucking awesome. So where most of the ones, I forget what it's called. I used to know this. I had to test on this. But when you have the stage and you have the audience, and you guys can correct me on that one. I'm forgetting it right now. But that's typical. So at the community college that I went to, they have something like that. The arena I really like. Oh my gosh, those young adults, those kids, as I call them, because I'm almost 50, they had to be so creative on how they had to show, because they couldn't have just huge set pieces all over the place. So they really had to use their imagination with their set pieces, and it was just so wonderful. I really enjoyed their shows. So when I went to GCC, Glendale Community College, to do theater, and I loved the professor David Seitz there, and I'm actually thinking about going back and doing acting, because they have acting 1, acting 2. He does it sometimes over the summer. He'll do acting for the camera, and then he also has a director's course, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff as well. They're like, oh, you need to get into dance. I'm like, no, I've done karate, kung fu, I've done kali, I've done jujitsu, muay thai. I know how to move. I don't need dance for something like that. And so yeah, but that's me. So anyways, they have a whole bunch of other stuff, but I took all those classes, and then I'm considering going back this next spring course to do acting 2 again, just so I can play around and do some acting with some fresh people, and just keeps me training and learning and growing. So, but don't know what I was talking about. Anyways, so we're getting set up here. So college kids, they don't always have money. I support my son as much as possible, and I send him money, but also I can't spoil him. He's got to earn it, because if I just hand him everything, if I'm paying all his fees for him, as far as being an equity actor, if I'm paying for all of his, and I paid for his Actors Access, and then some of his uploads, but he's got to earn some of it as well. When he goes on his trips and he goes on an audition and it's in person or something like that, he's got to do that on his own. He's got to earn it. If I do it for him, he's not going to appreciate it. He's not going to work hard for it. When you're broke, who's that one kid? He's like, oh, I started a online thing, at the University of Texas, and grew it to like 7 million. I see that kid all the time. And he just asks entrepreneurs, like, were you ever broke? And how many of them like laugh? I've seen like a couple guys like, no, I was never broke. But most of them are laughing. It's like, oh my gosh, let me tell you how broke I was. We've all been there. So try to do things that are on the cheap, and I'll teach you guys how to do things that are on the cheap as well. But for the most part, you don't need a lot of equipment. You do need a tripod. You can get a cage like this. I don't remember how much I paid for this, maybe $20-$30. And again, this was all pre-COVID. I bought all of my stuff pre-COVID. I don't really buy stuff anymore. The gimbal that I'm using now, this is one of the, when gimbals started becoming a thing, and I see it on TikTok shop where gimbals are coming back, and it's nice because they're only like $20-$30. And the thing of it is now they have face tracking recognition on the handheld, the stick part, where the one I have does not. So I bought what's called a Smooth Mobile, and back in 2017, 18, something like that, 16, whatever. 2 companies, Smooth Mobile and then DJI, was kind of battling out who was going to win the mobile gimbal. And then that lasted for like a year or two. And then all of a sudden, they just went away, and people stopped using mobile gimbals. And part of it was because they started getting 360 cameras, and then they started getting, what is it, the DJI, the Osmosis, the Osmo, whatever the hell it is, where it's like a little stick and it has like a 360 and they're just doing all this crazy shit. Well, then with COVID happening, again, people to a point were broken. They're like, man, I don't have money to be spending $150 on, a gimbal or some shit like that. Especially one of the big ones. I got one for my DSLR. I use it. Well, I used to use it for when I was recording for clients, making little commercials and stuff for them. But I haven't used that thing probably in 3 years. Just sitting in the closet now collecting dust. Same with my drone. I got a nice drone. I was using that for clients. I haven't used that. It's, between the two of those, it's $1,000 worth of gear that's just sitting there collecting dust. And I will not upgrade. I will use those things until they don't freaking work anymore. So that's why I bought extra batteries for everything. But now you can get these gimbals. I've seen them as cheap as like $20, $30 on TikTok Shop. And that's nice because if I were like to move around, it will, like I could walk all over the place. So right now I'm just static because I don't have face tracking on it. And the Smooth company, they used to have an application for your phone and you could do face tracking and it would follow you and move it. That's disappeared because the company's not making money, so they're not supporting the software anymore. So even if, because it has a USB, even though the phone is a C-type, it has a mini USB. If I can get a USB to C-type charger, I can connect it into the gimbal, but there's no app for it, so it doesn't matter. There's nothing I can do, so there's no point of doing that. The only thing is the two would basically share a charge off of each other. So you don't need anything like that. You can get something like that as a gimbal, get it on a stand, because you can get a stand like this and track it or whatever, or you can just get like a cage like this. I like the cage because you can put a light on it, where the gimbals, some of them I've seen come with little lights, like little magnetic lights, which is pretty cool. Again, I got this light years ago. They weren't magnetic at the time, or are they? Maybe. I think there might be a magnet in there. Yep, they're magnetic. Both of those corners are metal, so, oh, you can't even see that, so, yep, it's magnetic. Okay, so I guess this is magnetic too, never mind. Anyways, so we'll get set up here. We've got the lights turned on. I'll go ahead and I'll turn that on. I use my DSLR opposed to my phone to record because then I have a bigger monitor so I can kind of see myself. As I'm really picky, I'm not even that good of an actor. I'm not even really an actor. I'm just pretending at this point. Pretending to do what you guys actually do. And then hopefully someone will pay me for it. That'd be cool. So anyways, we'll get set up, and that's what we'll do is we'll deliver some lines today and then just go from there.